Wow. Just wow. Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we are talking about the Penguin. The season has finally wrapped up, so I figured we have to talk about it because wow, just wow. So I'm probably gonna do this pretty similarly to the Agatha review. If you saw that, if you haven't, go check it out. Because I'm gonna start off spoiler free, and I'm gonna dive into some spoilers. And yeah. So first, it's kind of crazy for me that my thoughts on the show, because I feel like this show is kind of like, it was kind of like Agatha, where I liked it more as the show went on, and except I feel like this show was the better show. Like I was saying, so obviously, in case you don't know, I loved the Batman. The Batman from 2022, I believe, is when it officially released. I thought the movie was great, and when they announced that we were getting a Penguin TV show, I thought, oh, that could be interesting. I wasn't like super excited for it, but I thought it could be pretty interesting. It's gonna be exciting to get. I was excited to get back into Gotham, specifically this version of Gotham, because I think they did such an amazing job at establishing Gotham in this world with the Batman, and following the Penguin, who's a character I've always liked to see Batman beat up in the comics. so I thought this could be interesting, but I'm mostly just excited to get back into this world. And I feel like as episodes went on, I ended up liking it more and more, because we got episode 1, and I'd be like, yeah, that was alright. And then we got episode 2, and I was like, that was really solid. And then we got to episode 3, and that's when I was like, oh, this is really good. And then we got to episode 4, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And it just kept me for the rest of the show. So yeah, like the first 2 episodes, I was like, alright, this is pretty good, yeah, okay. And then it just got better and better. And so, yeah. So without spoilery thoughts, keeping it spoiler free, I just thought the show was pretty great. It's definitely, I do have to say, something that could be a flaw, but also could be a good thing, is that I feel like you could definitely tell that it's a different cinematographer, and that it's not Matt Reeves directing. Like, I could tell that, especially with the first episode, where I was like, cinematographer is different, Matt Reeves is not directing. You can feel that, especially mostly with episode 1, and even episode 2, I think. After that, I think you get used to it, because it still doesn't feel like, because it does this weird thing where it does feel like it's part of the Batman universe, but it doesn't feel like the Batman, which really, I guess that's a good thing, because it makes it unique, it makes it different, while also still feeling like it's connected. So really, that's a good thing. But I feel like it took a little bit to get used to be like, oh yeah, this is in the same world as the Batman. So there's that. I just want to point out. I don't know if that would be a positive or negative, but I wanted to bring that up. There's that. And yeah, like I said, I just think the show got better and better as it went on. And something that's cool that they do in this show that I feel like they don't do a whole lot anymore with comic book media, where they make a movie or show about a villain from the comics, and almost every time they're not really a villain. They are either very misunderstood, or they're just full-on anti-heroes. And while there are characters that does work for, like Venom, I feel like it does work for Venom, even though I do prefer him as a villain. Morbius, I do think it could have worked if they did it right, which they did not. And there are other characters it works for, but there are other characters that they've tried it with that are just like, well, they're not anti-heroes, they're villains. Heck, if we even go over and look at Disney, they made Cruella and Maleficent, which are making these villainous characters, and they're making them, oh, they're misunderstood anti-heroes. Which, I mean, okay, Disney, if you say so. I mean, that's come for someone who actually liked those movies. I liked the Maleficent, I liked Cruella. But they didn't necessarily feel like Cruella and Maleficent, if that makes sense. But in this show, that was something I was wondering. I was like, I wonder if they're going to keep him a villain, or if they're going to try and make him a misunderstood anti-hero. Oh no, this guy's a villain, and they make sure you know he's a villain. There is no questions about if Penguin is a villain in this show. It is so obvious, because he is the worst. He is evil, he's insane, he's a psycho. This guy is the worst. And they do such a great job that by the time this show is over, by the time you're done with that finale, you want nothing more than to see the Batman pound the Penguin. And that I think is a good thing for the show, because they're taking this character who's always been known as a villain. He's never ever been, at least to my knowledge, unless it's something that was very obscure that, you know, very little people, even hardcore comic fans, don't know about. From what I know, he's always been a villain. He is very good at sweet talking. He's very good at pretending to be a pretty good guy whenever he needs to wheels his way into doing stuff. But he is, at his heart, a villain. And they keep that. They give him moments where you do kind of feel for him, where you're like, oh, well, I understand that Penguin. Then you're like, oh nope, I still want you to fail so badly. I want you to fail. and they do. And what's also really cool is that I feel like they introduced in this show Sofia Falcone. She's in this show, and I remember at first when I saw her in the trailers, being like, we'll see where this goes. I'm not sure if I'm too interested in this character or in the story. No, they got me invested in her character and her story. It's so good. And something that they do a great job at is at the beginning of the show, we're rooting for the Penguin. Kinda. I mean, you still kind of, you know, he's a terrible person, but you know, he's the protagonist. He's the title character. So, you know, we're kind of rooting for him. We're like, yeah, Penguin, take over Gotham. Beat the Falcones and the Maronis. Beat Sofia Falcone. But then by the time but as the show progresses, at least for me, I feel like other people too, but at least for me, I completely shifted sides. Where by the time we got towards the end of the show, I was rooting for Sofia to win. Like, I was really hoping that Sofia would win and that Penguin would lose. That's how great that this show was at doing that. As I went from being like, the Sofia character could be interesting, and I'm kind of for Oz to be the one to take over City, to now I think the Sofia character is great and has an amazing story, and I want her to beat the Penguin and take over the city instead. Or actually, I also kind of was hoping she'd be able to get away from the city, get away from all the corruption of her family and the evil, but, you know, yeah. I forgot, keeping it spoiler free. I think I've done a good job so far, but yeah. So that I thought was really, really well done. So I don't think I have many more spoiler free thoughts, at least that I can think of. I do think it does a great job also at portraying how the ending of the Batman with Riddler flooding the city, how it affected Gotham. I think they did a great job at that. Can Penguin do this? No, he cannot. I thought they did a great job at that. Guys, like I mentioned before, I think the characters are really well done in this show. Penguin, they do a great job with this interpretation of him, making us absolutely hate him by the time the show's over. Sofia Falcone, I thought, was a character that they completely turned me around on. But the first half of the show, she was actually pretty menacing and scary, so you kind of wanted her to lose. But then, because of different revelations and stuff, by the end of the show, I was rooting for her and wanting her to win. So I thought, so that's really cool. And then Victor, who we see is in the trailers, we see that he's the guy that the Penguin does let into his crew, like the first guy, kind of. I really liked his character also. I thought his character was pretty great. And he was definitely the most likable character in the show, and I think that's because he's the only guy who, at least when we first meet him, isn't a bad guy. He's a good guy at heart. Now, he is working with the Penguin, so, you know, things happen. But at first, he's a really likable guy because he is, like, the only good guy in the show. And even as the show progresses, I still really like him, and I love and it was really fun seeing him grow to be more confident than he originally was, and that's really enjoyable. I also wanted to say that this show definitely does not hesitate with its with its TVMA rating and going super dark, because like the Batman got really dark. Like they did not hesitate to go dark, but it was still PG-13, a very heavy PG-13, but still PG-13. So you can let 13-year-olds watch it. they just they just might be a little on edge during it. I don't know how to explain that, but you can still let 13-year-olds watch it. It's just very, very dark. This show, don't let any kids watch this show. Like, no, don't do that. No, just no. This show does not hesitate to go just extremely dark, extremely violent, extremely messed up. There are parts in the show that are outright hard to watch. At least for me, it was. Like there were like I never thought I'd be saying this for something that's not like a scary horror movie, where you're kind of like you're trying to, like, your head's turned because you want to look away, but your eyes are glued to the screen because you can't look away. That's how this show was a lot of times, where it's just so intense that I want to look away because it's so intense, but it's just so good and such a good story that I can't look away. So, like, they don't hesitate to go extremely dark. It is TVMA. I think that was the right choice, especially for this version of the world. Because, like, obviously it depends on the version of the world. Like, if we got a spinoff for Batman or Robin, it'd make no sense at all for a spinoff for that to be TVMA. But for this show, it does make sense, especially because the Batman... I thought it wasn't too bad. I didn't think it was, like... Only let adults 18 plus watch it. But... I did think it was definitely very dark. It definitely pushed its PG-13 rating, which I thought was a good thing, especially for Batman and this version of Batman. But because this is a TV show, they don't have to worry about box office money. They went full R-rated, TVMA, and I think it works in the story's advantage because it let them go to those dark places. So yeah. Oh, although I do also want to point out that even though the show is definitely very dark, violent, and intense, and adult, I still do like that there are still parts of the show that are funny. Like, there still are comedic moments. There still are certain lines that are funny, certain situations that are funny. Like, there's still some comedic moments in the show, but for the most part, it does stick very dark and violent. But yeah, I do appreciate that it still incorporates humor, even with how dark it is. So would I recommend this show to those of you who haven't seen it yet? I would say if you're 18 or older and you can handle very intense material, and you're a big fan of the Batman movie, or just Batman in general, then I would say, yeah, go check it out, because it is a good show. But again, if you're 18 or older and can handle intense material. But yeah, I would say yeah. But I think that's all I got for spoiler freeze. Now I got some stuff I want to talk about that are huge spoilers. So if you haven't seen the Penguin, and that goes for every episode, I think we're going to talk about specific episodes individually, but every episode, click away and come back after you've seen it. I'll give you a few more seconds to click away. Now let's dive into some spoilers. Alright, so I'm going to be completely honest with you. I might mess up what episodes are when, because I don't exactly remember which episodes had what in them. But there are certain points I wanted to bring up that were spoilers. So the first thing I want to think of, I believe it was episode 3. I believe. I'm going to look up I'm probably going to do a ranking later in this video of the episodes. So when I look at my list, I'll actually remember what the episodes were. But right now I'm not looking at it. So I believe it was episode 3, Bliss. We get to see Victor's backstory, which I thought was amazing. I really liked how they showed us his backstory. And they don't tell you that it's a flashback either. We just kind of meet up with Victor. He's in Gotham. He's talking to people that we haven't seen yet. And then he goes into this house, this apartment. We're able to figure out, oh, that's his family. Oh, this is a flashback, isn't it? And then we see his point of view for this such a heartbreaking thing, where he's kind of at odds with his family. Like he leaves the apartment after an argument. He goes with his friends to watch the fireworks from the election, and they're up there, and, well, if you saw the Batman, you know what happened during that election. The bombs go off, the water floods in, and we see Victor's point of view as the huge wave crashes onto his apartment and destroys the apartment and everyone in it. And it's just heartbreaking and kind of amazing. It was just really well done. And then we flash back to the present and flash forward, whatever. we're back to the present, and now we understand what happened to Victor's family, and how heartbreaking it was. And then I like how like there are parts in this episode where he flashes like back to it, like the part where he dropped all the containers of bliss, and then when he goes to pick it up, there's they do this cool thing where it's a mix of bliss and the gravel from the flashback vibrating on the ground. And I thought that was cool. But then I believe it was the episode after this, episode 4, I forget the name of it, Sofia's episode. That episode was awesome. Like, it was kind of hard to watch, but it was so good. So pretty much we flash back and we get to see how Sofia came to be who she is. And we see her back years ago when the Falcons were on top. Her father, Carmine Falcone, says he wants to, when he's passes away, or when he's done, at least when he's retired or passes away, I forget which one he said, he wants her to be the new head of the family. But then a reporter comes to her and points out that a lot of people have died the same way her mother died, which was being hung. And it leads her to look towards things because it makes her suspicious because of all these murders of women being hung, just like her mother. And she connects that her father had bruises on her hands. There's different connections. She thinks that her father might have been the one to strangle his mother. And Carmine, even if it's his own daughter, can't have anybody know what happened. So he frames her for the murders, gets her arrested, and put into Arkham Asylum. And they do such a great job portraying this version of Arkham Asylum. Like, I think this might just be the second best portrayal of Arkham Asylum. Number one will always be the Arkham games in my mind, just because I think the Arkham games do such an amazing job at portraying that place. But this game, because this is a video game now. But this show does an amazing job at showing how horrible, absolutely horrible Arkham is. Arkham is the worst place to exist, and it shows you that nothing there is fair. They're supposed to help these patients get better because they're supposedly insane, even though Sofia is actually not. And not only Sofia is surrounded by insane violent lunatics, but also all the people around her who are supposed to keep them safe and help them get better don't care what happens to them, and in fact will take part in hurting them. And yes, this is a better version of Arkham than what we saw in Joker. Folie à deux. We're not going to talk about that movie in this video, but yeah, that movie. It's kind of funny how a Joker movie, a Penguin TV show is better than a Joker movie, and the portrayal of Arkham in the Penguin show is much better than the portrayal of Arkham in the Joker movie. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Penguin. It was like this place is awful, and we see the Sofia, who honestly is pretty innocent. Like, she probably, she's a Falcone, and her father was going to let her be the head of the family, so she probably has done illegal things, but she's never killed anybody, so she seems like a pretty reasonable and nice person. But now she's in this horrible place. No one believes that she's innocent, that her father's framing her, and it drives her insane. All the torture she goes through, no one believing her. She finally makes it through the 6 months that she had to do waiting for the trial, just to find out there is not going to be a trial, and she's there until she, air quote, gets better, which pretty much means whenever the people working in Arkham are done with her. And we do know, at least later in the show, that ends up being 10 years. That, oh my goodness. And they do such a great job in the show of making you feel like you're trapped in Arkham with her, and you're trapped in this horrible place, and you want nothing more than to leave, and you want nothing more than for Sofia to get out. Now you do know she's gonna get out because we saw the present, but still, you want out, and you want Sofia to get out with you. That's kind of how this episode makes you feel. And they introduce us to Magpie in very, very creepy fashion, where all of a sudden we just hear this her voice is terrifying, I think. We hear this terrifying, creepy voice, and we meet, in the cell next to Sofia, we meet her, and they become friends, kinda. At least Magpie thinks they're friends, Sofia, not so much. But she's hanging around Sofia now, and she's crazy. Magpie is crazy. And now after Sofia knows that she's gonna be there for who knows how long, probably for the rest of her life, at least as far as she knows, she breaks, she snaps. Well, actually, before she snaps, she's attacked by another crazy inmate who is not chained like everybody else, who attacked Sofia. She believes that it was rigged, or she was let free on purpose to beat up Sofia, which is most likely true because that's just how Arkham works. And no one believes her. They say it's an accident. They give Sofia a chance to hurt the inmate that hurt her. Sofia refuses because she knows that will give them a reason to say that she's a lunatic and a murderer. And this scene is like scary and just so intense, where the other inmate, when Sofia refuses to kill her, is just outright begging Sofia to kill her because of how horrible and awful Arkham is. And when Sofia refuses to, she does it herself. And it's not like off screen either. It is violent and on screen, and wow. Like I said at the beginning of the video, just wow. And then later we get the scene, Sofia finally snaps and she murders Magpie once again in very, very violent, very gruesome fashion. Like another just wow moment that shocked me. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting any of those two to die. Well, I mean, I never know what to expect in Arkham, but it did shock me because I wasn't like thinking in my head, oh, those guys are gonna die, but especially in the violent ways that they do. So when it happens, I was just like jaw to the ground. What the heck did I just witness? And just, that's Arkham. Yeah, that's Arkham. That sounds about right. So yeah, they do such a great job. When we finally flash to the present, we actually get very little in the present in this episode, which I thought was a good thing. I like how they did that. When we finally get to the present with 10 minutes left in the episode, you feel relief that you're out of there, and you feel relief that we're now with Sofia, who's out of there now, even though she did have to suffer way longer than we had to suffer in the Arkham. But it's like a relief that we're finally out of there. And then we get, of course, you know, now we kind of, and this is I think where we start rooting for Sofia, to the point where it's like, I kind of was rooting for Sofia to beat her family, at least, because the Falcons were like the worst. And then we find out that they helped put her in Arkham. That way she couldn't tell anyone about Falcone, about her father. You kind of like, yeah, I really hope Sofia's able to beat these guys and become the top, hopefully become the head of the family like she was supposed to be. And then, I won't lie, I did not see that. I didn't see it coming the way it happened, at least at first. So pretty much she kills the entire family. Yeah, everybody, except for the little girl. Which, you know, at least she kept the little girl alive, right? Not complete psycho. I mean, well, maybe. But still, kills the entire family, which, before this episode, I didn't expect her to kill her entire family. I kind of expected her to kill one or two of them. And then when the episode was happening, I kind of had a feeling when she was taking the little girl out to the greenhouse, I was like, oh, she's gonna kill everybody. She's gonna kill everybody. I don't know why I thought she was gonna light the house on fire and just let it burn with everybody in it. I was wrong. She just gassed it, which I mean, although the house does get burned down later in the show anyway, but you know. So and it just ends like that. Well, she does keep one guy alive, which was the guy I thought she was gonna kill. I mean, even though she just keeps him alive to kill him in front of people later, so you know he was doomed no matter what. But still, you know. I mean, I guess we don't know that for sure. Maybe it's because he ran his mouth and kind of betrayed Sofia when she kept him alive. So that could be why. But I mean, I kind of feel like she was gonna kill him no matter what. So yeah, that was like one of the craziest things. And then the show just continues to get better as we continue this journey with Oz and Vic and Sofia. I remember really wishing that Sofia and Oz, at least in the beginning of the show, would actually team up and take over Gotham together. But as you know, the Penguin can't have that. He's got too big of an ego. So he betrays Sofia, and it was kind of cool, like the suspense that they had with Penguin playing every side until he could finally take over, where he was like a quadruple agent, because we pretty much, at least for the first half of the show, we pretty much had the three factions. We had the Falcons, we had the Maronis, and then we had Sofia was kind of a loner. She wasn't really a faction, but we had Sofia, and then Penguin and Vic were out for themselves, and it was kind of fun seeing Penguin play every side, where he's working with the Falcons, the Maronis, and Sofia, but really he's in it for himself, and he's constantly trying to lie to all of them, telling them, no, I'm not working with them, I'm working with you. No, I'm not working with them, I'm working with you. And everything goes crazy, and we also see just how Penguin's the worst. I mean, he literally murders Maroni's entire family. He burns them, like two of them, like literally. He's an awful, horrible person. And then we get this flashback where you kind of, I feel like this was like the biggest turning point where you want Penguin to lose, because we get a flashback to when he was young. We get to see his brothers, who he's been talking about for the entire show, how he misses them. They died young. It's just been him and his ma. And we get a flashback to him with his brothers, and he murders them. Yeah. Just traps them so they drown. And at such a young age too, so you're like, this guy was born messed up. Like, he's been messed up since birth.
Looks like one of the requirements is a tragic backstory.
And it's just like, and then they show us that the mom knew this entire time. You know, she claimed she didn't. And she's talking to like this mob boss who's like, well, there's two things you can do with a monster like this. One, keep him around because he could help get you power and money. Or two, you know, take him out. That way you can make sure he doesn't hurt other people. And originally she picks, yeah, I want you to take him out for me. And no, she didn't mean to dinner, in case you were wondering. And they go to this, oh, I guess technically she does take him out to a dance, but it was so that he could, you know, unalive him. So, but then she eventually changes her mind and decides she wants her son to help get her money and power, thinking maybe he'll be good for at least something, even if he is a complete psycho. And technically, no, it doesn't really work out that way for her, because by the time he does rise to power, she's like in this mental state where she's kind of just like frozen. So yeah, we find out Penguin is the absolute worst and has been since birth. So now we hate him, and we want him to lose. We want Sofia to win, because he also told Falcone, her father, that she was talking to the reporter, which is what sent her to Arkham, really. So, you know, we hate the Penguin now, and we want him to lose. I wanted Sofia to win, and I kind of wanted Vic to switch sides to Sofia, because, you know, I really liked Vic as well. But, you know, that's not what happened. We get some awesome fun scenes. We get some action. We get a bunch of fights and gun shootouts, a whole gang war. It was a bunch of fun. But we're just gonna jump to my next thing that we want to talk about, which is pretty much the finale. That's when the mom reveals that she has known the entire time, and she hates her son. She despises him. She thinks he's a monster. She'll never be proud of him, and she outright stabs him trying to kill him. Now, I don't fully understand how Penguin was able to survive being stabbed by a bottle in the gut, but I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know any of that medical stuff. Maybe it's possible. Maybe it didn't get deep enough. I don't know. I know nothing about that, so it's probably possible. To me, it seems a little unlikely, because let's be honest, if it was Penguin stabbing somebody with a bottle, they would have died. So, because they're not the title character. But, it worked, because it showed us how much she despises this kid, her own son, because he, well, you know what he did. We talked about it already. And then we get to the finale where where Penguin pretty much wins. This is the thing where he sends Sofia to. When he wins, he takes Sofia, and myself. I didn't think of this right away because I kind of lost thought. Cause he makes a deal with this person who's a part of the court to pin everything that him himself Oz has done on Sofia, and in turn he gets some power. So instead of killing Sofia like I thought he was going to, because I completely forgot about this scene because of how invested I was in the scene currently happening, as well as Sofia herself thought Oz was going to kill her right there and then, but all of a sudden there's a spotlight, she opens her eyes, Oz is gone, didn't kill her, but she's going right back to Arkham, which for her is much, much worse. She would much rather be killed than go back to Arkham. I won't lie to you, I was kind of relieved. I mean, I know she would rather die, but to me, as a viewer and a Batman fan, to me this is exciting because this means we could see her in the Batman Part 2, which I would love. Or maybe a different spin-off like a Catwoman show. We'll talk about that later. So to me it was like, because I thought she was going to die. My expectation was Penguin's the only survivor. I thought Sofia was going to die. I thought Maroni was going to die. I thought Oz's mom was going to die. And I thought Sofia was going to die. I thought Vic was going to die. I thought Penguin was going to be the only survivor. And I was wrong about some and then correct about others. Because, Sofia survived. Maroni did die. And, we'll get to Vic. So yeah, she goes back to Arkham. We get this cool tease though too, where she gets a letter from her half sister, which is Selina Kyle, a.k.a. Catwoman. We get to hear the Catwoman score from the Batman, which is something I feel like I don't hear anybody talk about. But yeah, they play the Catwoman's theme from the Batman, and that's so cool. So I don't know what this means. I don't know, because in the Batman they reveal that Catwoman's father is Falcone, so they are half sisters. So I'm very interested. They don't tell us what the letter says, but like I could see them. I kind of hope she appears in the Batman Part 2, maybe Part 3, but I also could see them give us a Catwoman miniseries. We got Penguin miniseries. There have been discussions of doing more miniseries, like a Joker one was the main one that was discussed. Give us a Catwoman one, and then Sofia can appear in that one. I think that'd be kind of cool. Give us the Catwoman. I don't know. I think it could be cool. I think it could be fun. Show us what happened to Selina after the Batman Part 1. Unless this show comes out after Batman Part 2, in which case it would be whatever happens to her after the Batman Part 2. But you know what? I think that could be cool. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see Sofia Falcone, or she goes by Gigante now, again. And I'm looking forward to it. Alright. Let's talk about the thing that makes you despise the Penguin more than you already do. Oh, Vic. We get to the end. After everything Vic's done for Penguin, literally Penguin would not have had the success he's had without Vic. He's put his life on the line for Oz. He's helped him gain success. He starts looking up to Oz. And he even tells Oz he's like family to him. So what does Penguin do? He does the most logical thing anybody would do to someone who thinks that they're family. Murder him. Is that not what you're supposed to do? Yeah. Jokes aside, he kills Vic. And not just like a quick, well, there he goes. He chokes him, and it's not quick either. It takes a while. We hear him yelling. We hear Vic yelling. He's gone. This was the worst death in this show. And I don't mean worst as in like it was done bad. It was done amazing.
So many missing U's.
But this was the one that, like, he hated Oz a good portion of the show. But this is what makes you like, I want to see the Batman pummel you
I hear Chinatown's
so badly. This is the moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I actually want Batman to break every bone in your body now.
What was that?
And this is something too that I feel like I personally don't think that they needed to kill Vic, but because of the version that the story that decided to go with, it does work for the story they're trying to tell, and with no plans for Vic in the future, it makes sense. It makes sense because they could have kept Vic alive. They could have kept Penguin and Vic being partners. That could have worked. It would have been a very different version of Penguin at that point if they did that. But it could have worked for a different version of Penguin that they decided not to go with. Or they could have had him somehow survive. They could have had him maybe like break Oz's grip and get away, and then we can have a setup for either a Penguin season 2 or maybe the Batman Part 2, and we would see where it goes. But I think because I don't think they ever had plans for Vic outside of Penguin season 1, and because this is a awful, horrible version of the Penguin, he kills him, which does make sense for the story, and it's just it is done well. It's just the thing that makes you the most sad, the thing that makes you hate the Penguin the most, because he's the most likable character. He's the most likable character in the show. We get to know him throughout all 8 episodes of the show, and then this happens, the ultimate betrayal, which was kind of expected because the Penguin's awful. But it's kind of cool, weird too, because it was both expected but also unexpected at the same time. I don't even know how to explain that. Where it's like, there's a very good Oz. We know Oz would kill Vic no matter what if it's for his benefit. But yet it's still kind of shocking when he does it. So like I don't know how to describe that. It's like shocking but not shocking. I don't know. But yeah, that happens, and it's just horrible, heartbreaking, and it makes you. I don't think I've ever wanted to see the Batman pummel someone more than I wanted to see him pummel this version of Penguin. So now I can't wait to see that in the Batman Part 2, and if I don't get it, I will be sad. But yeah, okay. So that the show ends. The Penguin is now in power. He's now the new kingpin of Gotham. We are the crime world is in a completely different spot than it was during the Batman Part 1, which means it's going to have ramifications on Part 2. I think it does a pretty good job too. What's cool, I think this show has huge ramifications when it comes to the crime world in Gotham for the Batman Part 2, but when it comes to Batman's actual character arc, it doesn't affect anything. So I think people would be able to watch. Again, I haven't seen the Batman Part 2 yet, obviously. You have to wait 2026. Makes me sad I would have to wait that long. But not having seen Part 2 yet, it kind of feels like most likely you'll be able to watch just the movies and not be lost. Because you could just assume, oh, well, within the time we've been away, the Penguin rose to power. But then you can watch this show and you know how he rose to power, and you also get more backstory on Penguin and how he's the worst and how he deserves whatever Batman's going to do to him. So I think that's kind of cool of the show. And I know a lot of people have been saying they want. I know there's been a lot of talk about season 2. Personally, I wouldn't say I want a season 2. If they make a season 2, I'll watch it. It'll probably be good. But but right now I don't need a season 2. I mean, do you ever really need a season 2? I mean, sometimes you do, yeah, actually. But still, I'd be okay with it if they leave it alone. But if they make a season 2 with it, I'd also be okay with it. I cannot, although it does make me so excited for the Batman Part 2. So excited we have to wait till 2026. Oh boy, we're gonna wait forever for that movie. But yeah, I cannot wait for the Batman Part 2, and I thought this was a really great show. It's really good. Alright, so I've been talking about this show for I think way too long now. I think that's all I got, but honestly, I think there's things I'm forgetting because I didn't make notes like I was going to originally. I should have. I know, I should have. I didn't. So I just went off of what I really wanted to talk about, what came to mind. One last thing, it's kind of, what's crazy is how heartbreaking the show is, because there are moments in the show too where like Victor's death and Sofia's arrest could have been avoided. Let's start with Sofia, because technically she was in a place, she was winning. She was winning. She was away from Peguin, away from the gangs that she was making deals with. She had her stuff packed. She was ready to leave Gotham, and I really, really wanted her to leave. I wanted her to be successful in getting on the plane, getting out of Gotham, starting fresh, starting new, away from Gotham, away from the crime, away from the Falcons, and away from the Penguin. And she was so close. She was so close to getting out of there. But because of her own choice, her own mistake, because she couldn't let go of their revenge, because she had to kill the Penguin, she doesn't get on the plane right away, and that causes Penguin to get away. He wins. She goes to Arkham. And that's just like, especially because I know, like, it was like, I felt, especially when watching the show too, and when we got to that scene, I was like, oh, she's so close. I know they're probably not going to let her get on the plane and get away from Gotham, but she's so close. I just want it to happen. Nope, doesn't happen. And it's because she couldn't let go of the revenge. Because she wants them, the gang. She hires the gangs to bring him to. She hires the gangs that are who are pretty known to backstab everybody, to bring Penguin to her, so that way she can kill him and then be on her way. Even though she should know Penguin's a sweet talker, he's able to turn even the most loyal of people, and the people that she asked to get him aren't loyal in the first place, so I feel like she should have known, well, that probably is going to end badly. Or even so, she could have been like, hey, kill Penguin for me, and send me proof that he's dead, like, because since she obviously had their phone numbers. And then when she saw the proof, she could have been out of there. But no, because she had to make sure he was dead, and she had to be the one to do it herself. She doesn't leave right away. Penguin gets the upper hand. She goes back to Arkham. She fails. And same thing with Victor. Victor could have had a better life. Well, I mean, I guess we don't know if it would have been better for sure or not. But because in the one episode, I believe it was episode 3, we see his girlfriend. She finds his girlfriend. She tells him that she's leaving Gotham, and she wants him to leave with her. He tells her, yeah, all right, get me a ticket. I'll leave with you. Penguin actually lets him go. Penguin says that it's his choice. Help Penguin get power so he can have power as well, or go with his girlfriend to probably just live another crappy life, which we don't know for sure if he would have. He could have lived an amazing life. It could have been crappy, but at least his life wasn't constantly in danger like it would have been if he were to stay with us, which he does. He even drives to the bus station and sees his girlfriend, and at that moment he could have gone out of the car. He could have gone on the bus with his girlfriend, gone out of Gotham. He's good to go. He's at least with someone that he loves. He's not alone anymore. And he's away from the dangers that is Gotham, because Gotham is extremely dangerous, especially when working with Oz. But he doesn't, because he thinks about it. That idea of having power and money and being the kingpin of Gotham sounds pretty good. And he decides to go back and help Oz. And because, I mean, there are other choices. He really could have left at any time, really. But that's like the main one that comes to mind, where he could have walked away, but because he didn't, he ended up dead. And another thing I did want to bring up too, I'm going way longer than I should be. I didn't want this to be this long. But another thing that I wanted to bring up too was when he does his first kill. Although he does seem like he only kills one person throughout the show, really, I think. He might have killed more. I don't remember. But his first kill that was so brutal also, and it was emotional, because it was really this character finally breaking bad. because he has never killed anyone before. He finally does it because he feels like he has no choice. Being around Oz too much, letting it corrupt him. He pulls out because this guy is threatening him. He says, well, you should take me to your boss and help get me a job with the people you're working for, or else he'll have to, you know, start talking and reveal who he is, where is their base operations. And, you know, you can't have that happen. So when the guy refuses to cooperate, Victor pulls out the gun and shoots him. And they don't let it be like a quick boom to the chest, cut away. All right, he's dead now. No, he gets shot in the throat in a way that doesn't kill him right away. And they don't cut away. They keep the camera on him, where we see this extremely bloody, extremely violent, slow death of this poor guy. Where even though you didn't really like the guy, you're kind of like, oh man, I'm sorry, dude. Granted, if they showed us that he was like the Penguin was, we probably would have been like, yeah, get him, Victor. But, you know, I don't think anybody would want to watch a show about this random guy from the Penguin. So, you know, we don't need... I guess we're never going to get that episode backstory. But we get... It's just so, like, intense. And it makes it worse because it is Vic who does it. If it was the Penguin who did it, we'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. But it was Victor, the guy who has not killed the guy, the only good guy in the show. The guy I say we care about the most. I might be wrong. Maybe I was the only one who cared about him the most. But the character we cared about the most does this horrible, violent thing, and he feels terrible about it. He wishes he didn't do it. He apologizes to him as he's dying. And it's just such a heartbreaking, painful, again, kind of hard to watch scene. But it was done so well. So I didn't have much more to say. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was a really well done scene. That was just heartbreaking. And it's not heartbreaking because this guy we like is dying. It's heartbreaking because this guy we like killed him. Which is always something that can be really interesting too, because making us like a character and then killing off that character, I feel like, well, obviously that's going to make us feel something because it's seeing a character we like die. But seeing a character we like kill another character and having that affect us emotionally, not because that guy died, but because this guy was the one to kill him, that's something like completely different that I feel like I don't know this for sure, but I feel like it would be harder to do. I don't, maybe I'm wrong, because I mean, like, look at Iron Man 3. We love Iron Man. We love Tony Stark. He kills, like Iron Man 3, he outright blows up Aldrich Killian. Do we care? Nah. Technically, like, the Avengers have killed a couple of bad guys. Do we care? No, not really, because that's not the point of the show or the movies. This show, they make us care. They show us that he's a good guy, and then he kills this guy in a very violent, bloody fashion. So it's heartbreaking. So yeah. Okay, now really quickly, but before we go, I thought it'd be fun to try to rank all the episodes again. Once again, this is only watching the show once, week to week. But after watching it once, week to week, this is my how I would rank the episodes. In last place, I would have episode 1, After Hours. Then, after that, at number 7, I would have episode 2, Inside Man. Next, at number 6, I got episode 8, A Great or Little Thing. Then, kicking off the top 5, I got episode 7, Top Hat. After that, at number 4, I got episode 5, Homecoming. And then, kicking off the top 3, I got episode 6, Gold Summit. And then at number 2, I got episode 3, Bliss. And then at number 1, what I have as the best episode of the show so far, I got episode 4, Saint Annie. I don't actually know how to pronounce that. It's Sofia's episode when she's on Arkham. Saint Annie. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I don't actually know. But yeah, you can tell me your ranking too of the episodes in the comments if you would like. I think that's all I got now. I've been talking for way too long. Now some stuff will get cut out, but at the time of this at the time of me recording this with some stuff that's not gonna make it into the final cut, we're hitting 50-ish minutes, a little over that. So I don't know how long it's gonna be when this video is done with after the editing. This video's gonna suck to edit, man. I need to stop talking. This is getting way too long. We're almost to the hour. That's my thoughts on Penguin. I didn't even mention everything. There's more I probably could have mentioned, but I'm not going to, because this video is getting way too long. I'm trying to speed this up. What did you guys think of Penguin? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was okay? Are you excited for the Batman Part 2 now? Do you want a Penguin Season 2? Let me know all your thoughts about this show in the comments below. That sounded kind of cool. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit like. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. I reviewed Agatha all along, Season 1. Go check that out if you haven't yet. That one's a bit shorter, not by much though. And it's not nearly as brutal. But thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Same bat channel. Even though I normally post at different times.